Let's say you have a serious medical issue. You go to the doctor. The doctor examines you, does some tests and that sort of thing. And then the doctor tells you you're going to need treatment in a special facility. The doctor hands you a list with three names on it and says, here are three that I like. And then the doctor spends a little time with you talking about the pluses and minuses of the three different choices. You can go and get your treatment and everything's good. And then let's say that later on you discover that there were actually several other treatment facilities that you could have used, but you weren't told about. And let's say furthermore that some of those were less expensive, maybe quite a bit less expensive than the one that you ended up using, one of the three. And then finally, let's add that some of those that you weren't told about were actually better than the facility that you did go to. All right. And then here's the really the important point here. And then let's say you discover that the three that were on the list that the doctor handed you were all paying your doctor money to be on that list. So my question is, would that bother you? And I can tell you it would bother me. I'm no expert on medical ethics, but to me that's plainly wrong, just plainly wrong. And you go to the doctor and you expect that your interests are paramount. It's not all about making money from you. The doctor deserves to be well paid, but the choices that are put in front of you shouldn't revolve around payment to the doctor. By the way, there are many medical people on my mailing list, and please speak up if I have this wrong. If it's considered just fine in the medical world, I'd love to hear from you. All right, my point today is that the equivalent of that goes on every day across the country in financial services. Let's take a look. Okay, so let me remind you why I'm even doing this video. I was called in to help. An elderly person was mistreated by someone in financial services, and then her relatives are trying to kind of help recover from that experience. And so what I'm going to show you today is part of the recovery effort. Okay, this is not the mistreatment, this is the recovery. Everything I'm going to show you is completely legal and commonplace in financial services. So there's so much I could show you. I'm just going to concentrate on this, just this one aspect. What you see in front of you is actually my own sort of a copy, we'll call it, of something from the handout, a handout that this person was given. I've changed things up a little bit to keep things private, let's say. I don't want anybody to know where this came from. But the fundamental ideas here are completely accurate. All right. So the impression that you get when you look at the materials and the particular graphic that this is drawn from is that there is just this incredible effort. There's an army of people at this firm, and they just, they just work so hard to cull the list and get it down to just the very, very best people. All right. They start with 18,000, and then they do all these different analyses and so on, and they get it down to 3,000, and they work really, really hard, and they get it down to 1,000, and then they do all kinds of additional work, and then solely with your interests in mind, they get it down to 43 fantastic managers. That's kind of the look of it and the language of it. I mean, I'm exaggerating a little bit just for comic effect, but not all that much, honestly. All right. So what aren't you told? And to me, this is the really interesting part. What you're not told is that these 43 managers pay the what they call introducing firm money to be on the approved list. They pay money. And if you don't pay money, you won't be on the list. So you could have some of these 18,000 managers, you could have some that are just completely amazingly fantastic. If they don't pay, they're not on the list. All right. So I think that's kind of important for you to know about, but you're not told that. Now, it will be in the fine print, and I actually haven't seen the fine print yet here, but so I don't know all the specifics, but that's where it will be. But guess what? Nobody reads it. I have never had anyone come to me and say, I looked at the fine print and I discovered this, that, or the other thing, and can you explain this to me? It's never happened. And all the firms know this. All right. I don't think this is the way it ought to be. I think this is very much the equivalent of the scenario I described with the doctor. And there we would be outraged. Here it's just every day. All right. And the reason for that goes back to my chicken video in the beginning. You don't know about it. With a chicken, you can see it's just plain as day that they didn't put some chicken in some parts of the package. You know what's going on. You can figure that out instantly. This is a mystery to you. You don't have the wherewithal to figure it out. So it goes on. I think if everybody knew, it wouldn't go on. I'll talk to you soon.